Constructing a rich picture is the first stage of Checkland's soft systems methodology. Here the problem situation is expressed pictorially. For this particular case study, two rich pictures have been constructed, one representing the emergency response and another representing the recovery operation. Looking firstly at the rich picture representing the response effort, on the right hand side of the diagram, some of the issues within Goal Command are represented. Due to the nature of the Buncefield Fire, initially as could be expected, decisions at Goal Command were hindered by lack of information. This led naturally to indecision. Air monitoring arrangements were found to be confusing, and information was misinterpreted when it did arrive. When the decision was made to extinguish the fire, it was based partly on misunderstood information and due in part to the perceived negative image of the fire service not tackling the blaze in the media spotlight. As with all decisions in such an environment, time is also a critical factor. Decisions have to be made quickly. As you can see, the indecision and some of the issues at Goal Command are illustrated to the right of the rich picture. At the scene of the incident itself, represented on the left of the diagram, there was also confusion. Sudden withdrawals of fire service personnel for safety reasons from the site were ordered often without consulting sector commanders, which led to frustration. There was also confusion on the fireground regarding who was in command and who was at the scene of the fire. Some crews also felt that they were tied up doing jobs other than firefighting that they believed that they shouldn't have been responsible for. These issues are outlined in the thought bubbles. The large yellow arrows represent a single work shift at the incident. At the beginning of a new shift, when firefighters reached the scene, there were occasions when new crews couldn't find the individuals who they were replacing. At the end of the shift, there were also problems. Transport arrangements for transporting firefighters off the scene were poor, and often the arrangements meant that Fire and Rescue Control had difficulty in keeping tabs on the whereabouts of equipment and personnel. The main firefighting foam supplier also raised the issue that during the incident it had received requests for foam supplies from numerous different individuals and organisations for the same job. This again led to confusion. This situation is represented at the bottom left of the rich picture. The second rich picture represents the issues associated with the work of the Buncefield Community Recovery Task Force as part of the overall recovery operation. The task force was made up of a number of members from the public and voluntary sectors. This group is represented on the right-hand side of the rich picture. Some of the major concerns at the time, such as securing funding and communicating with members of the community, are highlighted. Each of the member agencies within this group collected information from the community and brought it together within the group structure. This information gathering activity is represented in the centre of the diagram. Resources and community support were then provided to the community in a coordinated manner through each of the member agencies. This activity is demonstrated at the bottom of the diagram. The community and some of the major issues and impacts arising from the Buncefield incident are represented to the left of the picture. The arrows within the circle represent some of the linkages and knock-on impacts of the Buncefield incident within the community, for example damage to businesses leading to unemployment. At the bottom left of the diagram, the individuals outside of the system are represented. These individuals were those who needed assistance but couldn't be readily identified by the Community Recovery Task Force, temporary workers for example.